Welcome to Module 6, Section 1 of your California Contractor License Exam Prep course. In this lesson, we'll take a foundational look at the California Building Standards Code, sometimes referred to as Title 24, and why it matters to every remodeling contractor operating in the state. If you're planning to pass your B2 trade exam and run a compliant, professional remodeling business, you need to understand how this code works, how it's organized, and how it applies to your day-to-day work on the job site. The California Building Standards Code is a compilation of regulations that govern the design, construction, alteration, and maintenance of buildings in California. It is updated every 3 years by the California Building Standards Commission and is made up of 12 parts, collectively referred to as Title 24 of the California Code of Regulations. This code isn't just for engineers and architects, it's something every contractor must be aware of. As a B2 contractor, you're expected to comply with relevant portions of this code, especially those relating to residential remodeling, energy efficiency, green building standards, accessibility, and safety. One of the most important things to understand is that the California Building Standards Code is not a single document. Instead, it's a set of coordinated regulations covering different areas of construction. For example, Part 2 is the California Building Code, which outlines general construction standards, including structural, fire, and egress requirements. Part 6 is the California Energy Code, which affects lighting, insulation, windows, and HVAC systems in remodels. Part 11 is CalGreen, the state's Green Building Code, and it governs environmentally responsible building practices. As a remodeling contractor, you're likely to deal most often with Parts 2, 6, and 11. What makes California's code unique is that it builds on national model codes, like the International Building Code, but then adds amendments specific to California's climate, seismic risks, energy goals, and environmental priorities. For example, California's Energy Code is much more stringent than the national baseline. So while a project may be acceptable in another state, it might fall short here unless it meets the additional state-specific requirements. Let's say you're remodeling a kitchen and replacing the lighting. You'll need to make sure that all new fixtures meet Title 24 lighting efficiency standards, which require high-efficacy bulbs, automatic shut-off controls in certain areas, and dedicated circuits for large loads. If you're replacing windows, you'll need to install ones that meet energy performance standards based on your climate zone. If you're upgrading insulation or changing wall systems, you must meet minimum R values and document those changes for compliance. Even things like installing a new bathroom fan or water heater can trigger Title 24 requirements if they're part of a permitted scope. Every time a permit is pulled, code compliance becomes enforceable. That means building inspectors will evaluate your work based on Title 24 standards and may issue corrections or stop work orders if those standards aren't met. As a B2 contractor, you need to know which parts of the code apply to your project so you can plan appropriately, coordinate with design professionals, and avoid delays or violations. CalGreen, or Part 11 of the code, is especially relevant for B2 contractors. It requires that you use low VOC paints, adhesives, sealants, and flooring materials. It mandates water-conserving fixtures like low-flow faucets and shower heads. It also requires waste diversion, meaning you must recycle or reuse a certain percentage of job site debris. Many contractors overlook this part of the code, but failing to comply with CalGreen can hold up final inspections or jeopardize your ability to close out permits. To make things more complex, each local jurisdiction in California has the right to amend the state code. That means Santa Cruz might enforce a slightly different version of the code than San Diego or Sacramento. These local amendments are usually published as part of the city or county's municipal code, or adopted through local ordinances. As a contractor, it's your responsibility to check with the local building department for any amendments that apply in your project area. Ignorance is not a valid excuse in the eyes of the inspector. The good news is that you don't need to memorize all of Title 24. You just need to know where to find the information and how to recognize when it applies. Most of the time, your project's designer, architect, or engineer will include code references in the plans. Your job is to read those notes, ask questions if something seems unclear, and make sure your installation matches the approved plans and the relevant code sections. When a plan calls for R21 wall insulation or U-factor 0.32 windows, that's not a suggestion, it's a requirement. One of the best ways to familiarize yourself with the code is to download the free versions available online from the California Building Standards Commission. You can search by keyword, browse by chapter, and even access historical versions to understand what's changed over time. You'll also find commentary, guides, and training materials on the websites of the California Energy Commission, Department of Housing and Community Development, and other agencies involved in Title 24 development and enforcement. For the CSLB exam, you'll likely be tested on the structure of the building code, basic compliance procedures, and key requirements from Part 6 and 11th. Expect questions about insulation, lighting, water efficiency, and waste diversion. You won't need to cite code sections from memory, but you should understand how to interpret a requirement, locate a reference, and apply it correctly to a remodeling scenario. As a B2 contractor, your reputation depends on your ability to deliver code-compliant work that passes inspection. Whether you're patching drywall, installing a bathroom fan, replacing kitchen cabinets, or redoing exterior siding, code matters. Knowing the basics of Title 24 helps you bid accurately, schedule inspections confidently, and avoid callbacks or red tags. It also protects your client's investment and reduces your liability in the event of a dispute or inspection failure. In summary, the California Building Standards Code, also known as Title 24, is the rulebook that governs how residential remodeling work must be done in California. As a B2 contractor, you're expected to understand and follow relevant portions of this code, especially Parts 2, 6, and 11. While you don't need to be a code expert, you do need to know how to find answers, follow the requirements on your approved plans, and communicate with inspectors and subcontractors about compliance. Doing so will help you build better projects, pass your exams, and earn a strong reputation in the field.